But the average WoW player today plays multiple characters. 2/3 of players who have a level 70 have multiple level 70s. Half of players have 3 or more. Most people are playing multiple characters a week.
So far I've made 2 videos on this channel about mains in World of Warcraft. How do you pick a main for an expansion? And do you even need to stick with the same character or class for longer periods of time? I ask these questions because I've never been good at keeping a main myself. And I don't think a main fits my personal goals in the game or maybe even the game itself anymore. When I originally worked on those previous main videos a few weeks ago, I had tips to stick to your main, both short-term and long-term, but I cut that section because well, notoriously, I'm very bad at sticking to one character, or even 2 characters. The main tip I had in mind was to have a goal or end date for the character so you can achieve what you want before switching to another character or another game. You pick a seasonal main, then you get your weekly things done on that character, slowly working towards your big seasonal goal. Once you're done for the week, you log out. Once you've achieved your big goal finally, you can pick a new, higher, more difficult goal, or you can play alts, or play another game. My plan for Midnight was to go in with Paladin because protection would let me solo smash through leveling, and Avenger Shield is literally one of my favorite abilities in the game. Then I would do some tank tier 11 delves for easy crest and gear, and then switch to Holy for Mythic Plus. And then climb to 2000 Mythic Plus rating at least, or Keystone Master, and then see what I wanted to do after that. Oh, and crucially, I gave myself a main alt as a backup and threw the other maybe classes in a warband camp called emergency alts. Perfect plan, except whoops, I didn't think about last minute spec changes that cut into the thing that drew me to the spec. My desire to keep playing after doing all my weekly stuff on Paladin and Priest. I mean, I make videos about World of Warcraft now. I'm easily distracted by shiny spec syndrome, didn't think about that. Oh, and of course, the mountain of gear that is thrown at us, both soulbound and different armor type warbound. Wow, Blizz, why do you keep throwing male warbound armor at me? Is this a message? And finally, I overestimated how much time my seasonal goals would take this time. So I guess the real question is, are mains a thing of the past? I know there are people who have always played the same character and will continue maining that character. I've read your comments on the Forever Main video and the Picking a Main video, and I'm still impressed. It literally couldn't be me though, because every time I try to stick to one character, I find myself asking, why is switching even a problem? Is this a problem? Sure, I spend a lot of time getting my fishing to max level on my Paladin, but is that what makes it my main? Most things I can do on my character are actually account-wide. Gear progression isn't account-wide, it shouldn't be, but with the changes to how gear upgrades work and how easy it is to get decent gear right out of the leveling gate now, switching characters is not a massive time loss. Also, and I guess we'll circle back to this later, but I think gear might not be that necessary this season. I guess the other big downside of not sticking to one main is that I'll never be the best Holy Paladin in the world if I keep dropping it to play, I don't know, random example, Resto Shaman. But playing alts or switching characters also helps you play the game itself better. Because I had done Windrunner Spire on a healer, I knew exactly what cast to stop or use a defensive for when I did that dungeon again on my rogue. Because spoilers, I did do Mythic Plus on other characters than my Paladin, but we'll get to that. As I said in my video about picking a Midnight main, and yes, I did rewatch it when I felt the urge to play another class, you can lay out all the pros and cons of a class, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to vibes and actually playing the class in the content you want to do. I was still planning on going into Mythic Plus as a Holy Paladin. I want to heal, and so I jumped in my first 2 +2 keys, and they were totally fine. It's kind of frustrating seeing a cast go off as a healer and not being able to do anything about it. Why did healers lose interrupts again? And yes, when I get disoriented here, I could have saved myself with a Divine Shield instead of mashing Divine Toll. But other than that, the runs were without incident and completed within time, so that's nice, I guess. But here's my thing with Paladin and Mythic Plus in this season. I wasn't sure what I thought of it yet because it was the first time doing these dungeons, and I've only played Holy Paladin in PvP before. So maybe I wasn't getting the class yet. I mean, certainly pressing Divine Shield is not second nature to me. It's not unplayable. I even had some fun in the dungeons I've done. It's just not as fun as I hoped. And not to get too technical, but in my main picking video, I was raving about using Light of Dawn to heal the whole group and doing damage at the same time through Liberation. But that button turns out to be useless, and the times I've pressed it, I barely notice a change in my team's health bars. So even if you've extensively tested your spec on beta, you can run into a situation where you don't like how the spec plays. Is Holy Paladin still going to be fun with the damage skills higher and higher? Or the thing you like about the spec might be changed a week before the expansion or season releases. Or I was unsure of what to do in those dungeons, so I needed more rep and maybe a point of comparison. Meanwhile, my bestie that is bravely and single-handedly fixing the tank shortage wasn't vibing on Demon Hunter, and so she wanted to run some test keys on Blood DK. In the name of science, and regular viewers of this channel know I love a good scientific experiment, I decided to try out a different healer. Maybe it's not Paladin, maybe I'm just not adjusted to the dungeons or the healing role yet. I mean, both healing and tanking are highly visible roles with a lot of group responsibility, so the possibility of running into toxic players is a bit higher than when you're vibing as a DPS player. Having said that, in the War Within Season 2, a French mage did call me out on my marksmanship hunter for doing tank damage. And that's not living rent-free in my head at all. So basically I wanted to know, am I just anxious because I haven't healed in a while and I only know these dungeons from reading every guide and watching a million videos? Or do I just not like what I can do on Paladin as a healer? Fortunately for me, but unfortunately for Paladin I guess, I leveled a Resto Shaman in dungeons in my downtime and it did seem a lot more fun. And I don't know if I can live without Gust of Wind anymore. Frontal to the face, let me yeet myself across the room. And then there's always Ghost Wolf to get me out of trouble as well. So into the 2s and then 4s and then 6s we went as Resto Shaman and Blood DK. And I had a lot of fun. I played Resto Shaman for 2 seasons in Shadowlands. I enjoyed it back then, I enjoy it now. The spec has lost a lot of buttons, which is fine because it had like 6 million before the great pruning of 2025. But it's genuinely a nice, easy to get into flow. Heal over times on your group for incoming damage, a bunch of totems doing passive healing, and then you fill in with an inexpensive single target heal or a more expensive group-wide heal. And then when nobody is on the brink of dying, you throw in a chain lightning.
I'm doing my part!
Does that mean Paladin has been dumped? No, because here's the thing. I'm so close to getting to my initial seasonal character goal Keystone Master that I might as well keep trying how Holy Paladin feels. Especially because the specs keep getting changed and balanced, and also because until you try something and really try it in higher content, it might be hard to truly know if you like it or not. I mean, I've never had any interest in Subtlety Rogue, but when I tried playing it recently, I actually realized it's pretty fun. Which other classes and specs have I written off completely that are secretly waiting for me to play them in Mythic Plus? Because here's a final thought about Mythic Plus, and I'm sure I'll come back to this in a later video. But a lot of people have been saying that this season is easy. And I'm not saying I agree yet, the jury is still out, I haven't gotten around to doing a plus 10 yet, the highest key you can do for rewards, but the 8 I healed on Tuesday night was easier than I thought it was going to be at this point in the season. Maybe even easier than the 8s I was bricking in the last week of the War Within on my Demon Hunter. In fact, if I didn't die here, we would have double upgraded the key and I would have been on my way doing a plus 10 in week 1 of the season with item level 252 and no tier set. That's what I meant earlier by saying that gear might not be as necessary. As of recording this video, I haven't gotten Keystone Master yet, but I might have by the time you're watching this video because my Paladin has over 1100 score, my Shaman 1300 something, and I'm even getting my Rogue and Priest in the mix. If I can crush my own seasonal goals on not 1 but probably at least 2 characters in week 2 with minimal gear, I mean my Shaman and Paladin both don't have tier set and my Shaman wasn't even level 90 last week, I think mains are kind of over. Or I need to push higher, or both. I guess the moral of the story is that I'm not going to be putting all my eggs into one main basket anymore. And I'm also going to stop finding a forever main, temporary main, seasonal main, whatever. I'm finally going to do what so many others told me what they do in the comments and what honestly feels right for me. Log in and see where the vibes are that night. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you next week.